Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatu salam. Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone. Greetings. Welcome to this session on e-portfolios in Blackboard. My name is Sanaullah. I'm at the Learning Technology Center, Deanship of Academic Development. I welcome all the participants to this session. So let me go over the slide. I hope everybody can see the slides, hear me clearly and see me clearly. So I think everything is working fine. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'll talk about e-portfolios in Blackboard. So the purpose of this session is basically to give you a definition, which I'm sure all of you are familiar, but just to officially define it. I will talk about the portfolio tool within Blackboard LMS, and as well as look from the student versus the instructor options available for the portfolio tool in Blackboard. So what I'm going to do today is I will go over these slides. The presentation should take about 8 to 10 minutes. So I'll talk about the tool in principle. Then we will have a demo. This will be like the chunk of the whole session. And then we can have question answers either by voice or by chat. So please feel free to ask questions if you have any. So this will be the agenda and the purpose of this session today. So as you all know, portfolios essentially are an organized collection of artifacts. Either it could be assignments, photos, or videos. And they provide a powerful medium for users, especially students, to efficiently collect and organize these artifacts, which is representative of their work completed over a period of time. So there is a lot of pedagogical perspective of what the portfolio can be used, So my task over here today is not perspective, and or attended the session last week. There was a presentation by Dr. Helen and Dr. Tracy about using portfolios. So it was a pedagogical perspective about using portfolios to capture evidence for learning. So if you are interested to know more about it, this is the recording link. Let me paste this in the chat in case if somebody is interested to look at it. This recording was done last week. Just give me a second. So if you are interested in looking at this session, please feel free to attend this, visit this URL, and you'll get a better idea of how the portfolios can be used to capture evidence for learning. Of course, this is a pedagogical perspective, and it gives quite some elaborate explanation of how the tools can be used both from a student as well as the instructor perspective. So this is about some essential definition and a pedagogical perspective. But within Blackboard, I'm not going to talk about the pedagogical part. I'm going to talk about the tool itself, the technical part, the functional part, and how it can be used, and how to create it, and how to sort of use it as an instructor or as a student. So within Blackboard, the e-portfolio system is directly integrated within the system. You don't have to do anything special, or you don't need to have any additional account or website access. You can just start by working on portfolios. Just a word of sort of observation. What I understand is you will see the word portfolio and e-portfolio. They are sort of used interchangeably. So essentially, the word portfolio is enough. E-portfolio could be, electronic portfolio, or evidence-based portfolio, or experience of your work. You can use E in any form as you like. But for our session right now, we are going to use the term sort of exchangeably. We'll use the same irrespective of the term. It's just the portfolio. So when you log into Blackboard with portfolio, you should be able to see my portfolio. So this is the place where you create all the portfolios, and then you have artifacts. Now artifacts are like, it can be assignment, audios, or videos. In Blackboard, for students who have submitted any assignments, they can use these assignments directly without any need to even look at the course or have the course access the course. It's like a direct channel. Since as a student you have submitted the assignment, and if the course is available in Blackboard, which it is, you should be able to access it and put it as an artifact excuse me, which can be used multiple times in a portfolio if you wish to. The third icon is shared with me, which basically means if you as a student can create multiple portfolios and you would like to share either with your colleagues or with your instructors or anybody within KFUPM Blackboard, you should be able to share these with me. So this is the third icon. And the following fourth icon is, it's blacked out. I just wanted to differentiate that there are portfolio templates that are available in Blackboard, but they are only available to administrators. That's why it's sort of blacked out, just to make it out differentiated that not everybody has an access to it. However, if some departments would like to have portfolio templates designed for their department or related activities, they can contact me or the administrator, and we can create portfolios based according to their needs or specifications. So that can be done. So that's basically a differentiating factor. Otherwise, within Blackboard, all the users, whether they are a student or faculty members or staff or any role, they have access to portfolio and they can develop portfolio. To give you an example how the tool works in Blackboard, of course, I'll give you a demo, but just to explain, it basically works like sort of a small website that you develop. So it will have some working area where you can add content. It will automatically generate, or you'll be able to add a course menu, similar to what you do in the course, a header and a footer. So just like a typical course that you do, or like a web page, if you'd like to say, portfolio works exactly or very much in a similar way. So we'll see that shortly. So now from a student perspective, let's focus a little bit of from the student perspective. What students typically can do is basically they can start creating, the basics of creating a portfolio. So they can, the first thing that they can do is create their own portfolio. They can start creating a portfolio from the scratch. So they can write their, content, have headings and so on. Or they can create a portfolio from a predefined template that is already created for an institution or for the department or for a program. So both can be done. Now, adding artifacts to the portfolio, this is sort of, you can add artifacts either directly from your PC. So if you have some document that you would like to add as an artifact, just like you upload files to a Blackboard course, you upload something like in that way, as well as students can also add their submitted assignments. And finally, using the portfolio content editor is more like, working in the content where you have these options to format the text, add images, and so on. Once the portfolio is created, they can submit or share their portfolios via the portfolio assignment, or share. You can send it to someone within the Blackboard. You need to know their username, or you can send it to someone outside Blackboard. You need to have their email address. So it just goes to them with a link that they can view the portfolio. It's more like you have a website, a small website for yourself. There are a couple of more options, like you can download the portfolio for yourself so that you can, share it with anyone you would like to send later on. So that becomes like a zip file that is available to you. And finally, when you share a portfolio with someone, you can set an expiry date on the portfolio. For example, if you'd like to share someone only for a week, and then, the link should automatically sort of becomes invalid. So you have a couple of these options when you are submitting or sharing a portfolio. If you look from an instructor perspective, it's essentially, you can do exactly the same things as a student can do, but what instructors can do, one additional thing is they can ask the students to submit their assignment as a portfolio rather than a submission or uploading a PDF or a Word file as their assignment. So I will quickly show this as well when we go to the course as an instructor, how to create a portfolio assignment. So apart from this, this is, essentially about the portfolio tool. Let's go to the demo. So before we go to the demo, let me quickly say where you can find the portfolio. So if you log into Blackboard, on the left side where you see the typical tools module, you will see portfolios somewhere towards the end. It's possible you might see one or more links depending on your role, but in my case, I usually see one. But on the right side, if you don't have this, or if you have hidden, you can also use the global navigation menu on the upper right side, where you can click this upward pointing arrow, click on tools, and then you will see portfolio. Because I have multiple roles as system admin as well as instructor, maybe I can see it 2 times, but it's essentially the same link. So all the users can basically access portfolios in this way. So let me just stop the presentation, stop the camera, and because I will go into the demo mode, let me open the Blackboard page and we will go on from there. So just give me a second. Okay, I have shared my screen. If you are able to log into Blackboard, you can do simultaneously with me. But if you would like to just have a look at this course on my screen on Blackboard. Let me see if there are any questions or anything. Okay, nothing. Okay. By the way, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please feel free to write in the chat, or we can have voice questions a little bit later. Okay, so within Blackboard, the first thing that you go over here, you will see portfolios over here. I will go to portfolio. Now, as I mentioned, portfolios are essentially an activity of a student. I mean, if you look from a perspective point of view, portfolios are essential for students, but of course, instructors can also use it and at least, develop it just to have an idea and ask the student or encourage students to use the portfolio. So right now, if I log in, I should be able to see something like this. I tried something before, but what I'm going to do is let me just follow these options. Let me talk about the basics of creating a portfolio. So let me just begin with that. So to begin with, let me start with this. So what I will do is I will click on, there are some portfolios here that I developed earlier. So just ignore this for the time being. I'm going to create my portfolio and I can click on the title. I need to give a title to a portfolio. In my case, I'm just going to call it my first portfolio. I can give some description over here. Okay, so just like making anything within Blackboard, you just add a title and a description, make it available, and comments are private. So I'm going to use the default options, but again, feel free to change these options if you don't make it available. For example, if work is in progress, you might want to keep it private. That's up to you. But I'm going to use the default template. So I'll call it my first portfolio, Sanaullah, and submit. Now, when you do that, every time the portfolio, it sort of gives you a tour. So it shows you what are the different components of a page are. So by default, you can take a tour. It will show you 5 things. But since I'm going to demonstrate, I'll say, no, thanks. I will explore on my own. If you want to launch the guide again, you can always come back here and click on this, click the launch the guided tour, and you will come back here and it shows the 4 or 5 steps that I'm going to show you in a minute. So by default, your page looks like this. This is the first portfolio. You can add a header and a footer over here. This is the first page. It has different sections. Think of this as a web page and it has different paragraphs, or a document with different paragraphs. So this is the document name and this is the paragraph name. And you can add different artifacts. So let me talk about the structure. The first thing is this is page 1. So I can say this is about me page. So let me just to elaborate, I'm going to say about me. So if somebody as a student, they would like to, create a portfolio, I'll click about me and I click save. And this is the first section. So something like this, where I am from. So if I want to make any changes to it, just click on this icon. I mean, click on the text or click on the pencil icon. You will be able to edit this section. So I will just say where I am from, and let's say, I'm just entering something. And you can, of course, this is a typical content editor of Blackboard. I mean, as an instructor, you are much more familiar with it. As a student, maybe they need to add some time, spend some time, unless they have used the assignment tool where they have submitted regular activities and so on. But typically, this is more comfortable. Instructors are more comfortable with this interface. And you can type something, and this is how it looks. As you notice, the moment you are updating, the section name and the paragraph name, the menu on the left, which is like a course menu in Blackboard as an instructor, these will be updated. And if you'd like to add more sections, either at the top or at the bottom, you can just, it's like a visual developer of your web page. Rather than a code, you just visually develop it. You say, when I say plus, it says a section added. I can add something like where I am going. I'm just using something just to demonstrate. I can give, and I click on save, I can add more content over here. For example, I'm just using some random text here just for the sake of demonstration. And save. Now, if you notice, it says about me, where I'm from, where I'm going. It's just something about me. And I can add a photo of myself. For example, if I remember, let me add a photo of myself. Yes, portfolio tool is something like a CV or a resume that the student can showcase his work. Definitely, all his activities, and or the best part is all the courses that you have taken. If you have any assignment, you can add it and sort of showcase your activity. Exactly. Yes, that's correct. And the additional part, which is like sharing and sending it to different participants or keeping a copy, that's, I think, even more advantageous in terms of all in one place in an organized format. Or something, I can do it from here, but recently they have removed, I think. So I have to use, yes, I can do it, insert local files. I think I have a picture of myself on the desktop. Okay. And I can just add this and click save. So now this is my portfolio that I created. If I want to add more sections, for example, let me just add another page. And I will call this page, for example, my major, for example. My major degree, for example, or just my major, I think. My major in engineering, for example. And I click save. And in different ones, I can say list of courses that I have taken. So I can say, for example, section 1. Let me save this. I can say section 1 courses that I have taken, and click save. Now, as you can see, it's the moment I keep adding different sections, either from here or here, it's automatically generating a course menu. And by the way, you can keep working on it. Let me quickly show. These are the settings on the right side: settings, preview, and done editing. If you are done, you can click done. If you want to make changes to the settings that you initially did, like the first name and so on, you can come back here and change it. But if you say preview and customize, it will show you how it looks like. So it will look something like this. So it automatically generates a course menu about me. So this is from me in 2 different sections: my major in engineering, courses that I have taken, and so on. Somebody asked, do students have to create portfolio for each course or just one for all? The answer is both. They can do it for each course. They can do it for all their courses in one shot, or they can do selective of courses. So there's no limit to how many portfolios you can create. It's more like how many folders you have and so on. And this is how it looks. Let me do a little bit more. So can I use this as a personal page? Yes, you can use this as a personal page. If you would like to share it, it stays on Blackboard. And I'll talk about this, using it as a personal page towards the end, because the reason is it takes a snapshot. It's not live personal page as such. So every time you sort of create a portfolio, when you share it, it has its own validity, but it's a snapshot. It's not live as such. So personal page, maybe not. I'll talk about this later in the session today. Okay, so here there are certain things that you can add. Like, as I mentioned, you can add some content over here. Let me just, for the sake of demonstration, let me just click on this one. Sorry, let me just click on this one. Just for the sake of demonstration, let me copy and paste something and click save. Of course, these, as I mentioned, is customizable. However, certain things are, by default in the template. So it says click here to add header to your portfolio. Now, when you add a header, for example, Sanaullah's course portfolio, you don't have an option to make changes like, make it bold or, play along with the course editor, because they are sort of fixed. And if you say something like in the footer, because there is a header in the footer, maybe you can add and I click save. Now, once I do this, let me just preview it again. You'll see like Sanaullah's portfolio, it has sort of a built-in header and a footer. So certain things are not customizable. Certain things are like this course menu, you can, reorganize it. For example, if you want to reorder them, I'll just have to drag and drop it over here. So my major in engineering becomes first and about me comes later on. So these are draggable, just like a Blackboard course, and you can delete certain, some of them. And then when you preview, you'll see my major engineering is first and about me comes later on, and so on. You can also customize some of the styles. If by default, you have the course menu over here, but if you don't want it here somewhere else, you say customize the style and the layout. If you choose a different layout, the course menu becomes is made available somewhere else. So it becomes like this. Again, there are not many options. There are limited options, but essentially it gets the job done in terms of having the automatic generated course menu. So let me stick to the default one. And of course, you can change the color to similar to course themes, so it looks a little bit more personalized. So let me just use this Citrus. I think I'm just using Citrus just for the sake of demonstration. And I can save. And once I click save on the upper right side, I can close. Now, this is more like designing a web page, and this is more like previewing the web page. So it shows something like this, it generates, and so on. Is everybody okay at this point? Very clear? I think it's very much straightforward. Essentially, what you're doing is creating a web page, something similar to, instead of building it in Microsoft or like a web developer tool, you are basically doing it in Blackboard, or you have worked with the course, so the course menu, you can reorganize the course menu, add content. I think this is very much straightforward. So let me just say done editing, and when I'm done editing, I will see something like this. My first portfolio, Sanaullah, I will have this portfolio done something like this. And if I want to make changes again, I will click on edit, and I come back to the same place. If I want to add some text, and so on, I will be able to do that. If I want to view this portfolio, I just click view, and I will see my this is the link basically that eventually gets shared with the participants. It is hosted on Blackboard. The e-portfolio system takes care of these activities. And if you click more, you have some more settings, which I'll come to in a little bit later on. So this is how I create the first portfolio from the scratch. All I have to do is click on create portfolio over here and start entering different menus, have some ideas. Again, you can try out certain things, and everybody, you can feel free to sort of try out these activities. Excuse me. So the next activity is basically creating a portfolio from a template. So for the template, as I mentioned, some templates have to be designed only by system administrators. So I am here logged in as a system administrator. So I can see my portfolios, my artifacts shared with me, and portfolio templates. Now, portfolio templates, if I log in, if I log out and log in with myself as Sanaullah, as an instructor here where I do not have an admin privilege, and if I go to portfolios, I will not see this sharing. I will not see this portfolio, creating a portfolio from a template. So this is missing. This has to be an administrator account. So I'm coming back to my administrator account where I can see the portfolio templates. Now here I created a KFUPM PLO portfolio. If you look at this, I tried to create it based on, program learning outcome portfolio. It's a template basically. And, I tried to use the AQAF assurance, academic quality assurance, the details which are given on the DAD website for Academic Assessment Center. They have this manual. So I'm just going to link this. So I just added this. It's welcome, communication skills. I basically added a template which can be added and customized. So as an instructor or as a student, you don't have to worry about the template. But what you have to sort of know about it, if the instructor asks you to create a portfolio using a template, you can use this to create portfolio. And instead of my first portfolio from a scratch, you say select portfolio from template, and you will see the list of templates that are already created. So if some template is created, you can click on the link. It will show you how the template looks like. Okay, are you sure you want to use this? So all you have to do is select and click submit. Now what happens is this PLO KFUPM PLO ePortfolio template has been selected. I will say my first portfolio, my portfolio from PLO, program learning objectives. This is the PLO template. No need for the name. Okay, let me just put the name for easy identification later on. And when I do this, all I do is type the name, click submit. It will give me this take the tour. I'll say no thanks. And as you can see, all this course menu has already been created for me. You have the header, you have the footer. You just give the name and the template is ready. And of course, once you are in this portfolio, you can make some changes. You can quickly preview it. Now, if you preview it, this was digital learning. You have these course menus already, defined for you, just like what you have when you start a new semester and you have a course. By default, the course menu is is the list of course menu is available so that you can select which ones to use and which ones not to use, and so on. You have the header. You have some content here. You can of course make changes to it, and you can always come back and preview how the portfolio looks like. So this is essentially about creating a portfolio from a template. Any questions at this point? Okay, people with whom I share do not need to have a Blackboard account. No, they do not need to have. You can even send them to their personal email address. They will essentially, I'll come to the sharing point a little later. They will essentially click the link and access the portfolio just as I'm previewing it right now. There is a link that's going on. You don't have to send this link. You just have to send it to the email. I'll show that little later on. So it's just a link and they don't need to have a Blackboard account. Yes, that's correct. So this is about creating a portfolio from a template. Now, the third thing that I want to show is add artifacts to the portfolio. Now, for this demonstration, I would like to use a student's account because as an admin, when I try to as an admin or as an instructor, you will not have any artifacts over here. Let me show you what I mean. So if I click on the My Portfolio page, this list of my artifacts, and I can add artifacts directly from a browser from my desktop computer. So I can say, for example, this presentation. And in this presentation, I can attach a local file, for example, ePortfolios in Blackboard, the same presentation that I just showed. I'm going to share it as an artifact for myself. I'm keeping it for my repository, and I click submit. So this presentation is there. It's a personal artifact, and I've uploaded. It's not linked to any course. So this as any user, they can do it. But if I would like to add an artifact from a course, so if I click add from course, it will show me the list of the courses that I am enrolled in. But unfortunately, because I am a sort of administrator and less of an instructor, more of an administrator, I do not have any artifacts of submitted assignments. Hence, I cannot use it. So only for the sake of demonstration, I am going to use a student account who is already graduated, so we don't interfere with his current activities. So the student is graduated. He has graduated at least 2 years ago, maybe, or more. So I can just safely use it just for the sake of demonstration. So let me minimize this as administrator. Let me come to this page. Just a second, this one. Just give me a second to. Okay. Now this is a student, Omar Al-Shahrani, and he has graduated a couple of semesters ago. So if I go to his portfolio, and if I click on artifacts, and instead of adding a personal artifact, I'm going to add from a course, for example. So add from a course, if I add from a course, it shows all the courses that he's enrolled in. Of course, you will see a long list of courses. And let me see which section I can take it from. For example, I think 192 project course. So he has a document. I can click on the document just to see how the document looks like. So this was his assignment that he has done in his course. This course is basically SWE's 417, Software Engineering 417. So these are the assignment instructions. This is his team group work, and it's a big document, maybe 90-page document. And it's, this was the assignment that he submitted. It's there in the system. And then finally, this was the docx file. He has scored 40 out of 50 in this, and there is some feedback from the instructor to the learner. So the whole thing is available. So I'm going to use this as an artifact and click submit. Now this artifact is available as an SRS document, and it can be used within the same portfolio by him only. This is limited to him. So what I have to do is I will go to portfolio from his side, and I will create some portfolio for him. So I will say SWE portfolio, for example, for him is for software engineering, and I click submit. And what I'll do is I'll just use his name. He is Omar Al-Shahrani, Omar's portfolio, for example, and I will say and I can say I have to click save, and then I make changes to it. I will say my assignment, my project report, for example. And this is my project report, and some details about the, if you want to write. Of course, this is optional. And you can click add artifact over here. If I click add artifact, it will can upload one I intend to use multiple times. So what I will do here is I will click on this one and I click submit. When I click submit, just notice the following. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I have the assignment description, assignment name. This is included in the artifact. There is a grade, there is a feedback. Now, if I don't want to include the grade and the feedback, that's fine, the submission information. So these are the default settings, but I would like to include the feedback. Maybe the grade, I don't want to do it. I don't want to show the grade. Because this portfolio can be shared with anyone. So if you have this artifact as an assignment, you will get these options. If you want to add more artifact as a personal artifact, for example, let me add a personal artifact over here, like a presentation that I just did, which doesn't require, because I'm creating it again. Let me just do that again, ePortfolio in Blackboard and submit. So this presentation did not ask me for permissions because it's just a regular file, but this assignment, it has these additional options like name, description, feedback, grade, and so on. So I have added both these artifacts and I click save. So if I preview this portfolio, I'll see something like this. Uma's portfolio, my document, this is my document, detail about the project. The artifact appears as a button. So if I click on the presentation, I will see this is the title, this is the PDF file. It opens as a PDF file in a browser. This is the PDF file that I just submitted. However, if I want to see the other artifact, it says this is, this is within, this was the title. You have this assignment instructions. This was the submission feedback. This is the doc file. If I click, it opens. It has feedback, but you can see since I did not check the grade is not visible. But if you want to open the document and see, you should be able to view and download the file as docx file. So just give it a couple of seconds. you should be able to see the doc file that I just mentioned. So this is the artifact and how you are able to see it, because it's the assignment belongs to you. You are only giving what permission. So for example, if I want to say, no, go ahead, show the grade as well and the feedback, I can do that. And then when I click save, preview, and if I click over here, I should be able to see the grade over here as well. So it depends on what and how much you would like to share. So it's pure your discretion. Any questions at this point? This is about adding artifacts to
yes, Mr. Sanaullah. Is artifacts means any file like Word,
yes, exactly,
PowerPoint, not necessarily just a picture or
something. No, of course, it can be anything. It can be an assignment, it can be a document, it can be a video, it can be an audio, it can be an image, anything that you would like to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're most welcome. Okay, so that is essentially about artifacts. There is one more part about using portfolio content editor, but I think we have seen it. If I would like to make any changes, for example, if I would like to add more text and so on. So just for the sake of demonstration, if I have text and, you know, if I want to include an image over here, let me include a local file. Let me include for example, a KFUPM logo. It's, for example, and then you can do a little bit of editing, just like you edit a Word document or text within the content editor. So it is something very similar. And for the image, you can have alternate descriptions, image, and so on. And I click save. So this is about his project report, and artifacts is done. Now let's look at sharing your portfolio. Then we will come to the instructor and the student part in terms of the assignment.
Mr. Sanaullah,
yes.
How to safeguard against students could copy from their previous friends and
no, for example, as I mentioned, anybody who is accessing the course, like this is Omar, he's accessing his courses only. So when he goes to portfolios and he clicks on artifacts, add from a course, it will show only his courses that he has taken, no other course he has access to, or any other course which somebody else is. So Blackboard takes care of that access issue. So these all the courses that are available had some content and the instructor made it available and he was enrolled till the end. So only these courses become available, nothing else.
Yes, but if he can make it in his friend's account, and then
I mean, if he is giving no, this is only for him. If he has access to other account, I mean, he will have access to everything. I mean, it's just like giving the key or the password to your portal ID.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Blackboard takes care of this in a standard way. So there is nothing to worry about. And as I mentioned, students see their portfolios only. So this student has, you know, and it's only the assignments, nothing else, no quizzes, no document upload by the instructor, only the assignment, because assignment is essentially a student submission. So whatever the student has submitted, it's only accessible his submission only. He cannot even access the course content of these courses. As I mentioned, if you look into this course, he has only one assignment. If I look into his other courses, I think, let me just very quickly, just give me a second, which it was 142 PYP 003. I think this one, he has multiple attempts in different assignments. So there are 3 different attempts. So you can look at what he has submitted and so on. I mean, the instructor, the student himself is seeing only these submissions. Nobody else can see it. It's more like you are all accessing the content in one place because you have submitted it, and Blackboard gives the student the option to sort of review all the submissions in one place. So this is about artifacts and having the personal artifact or an assignment artifact, and it shows you the different date and time. Now let's talk about sharing a portfolio. You do not share an artifact as such, you share the portfolio as such. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my portfolio and I'll look at the settings. Please note that I'm still in the student Umar's account, so I'm looking at his portfolio. So let me talk about sharing and then we'll talk about the assignment part. So in sharing, if I click, normally if I see the assignment, I'll see something like this: my document, project report, two artifacts, and some details over here. So I want to just share this. Let me customize this a little bit more. I want to change the layout to, just for the sake of demonstration, just something it looks stand out, high contrast. Let me take digital learning. I think it's better. Just blue with the shaded background. Okay, I'm saving it. So now once I do this, I can share this. It says share a snapshot with. Now, very important part over here is you are not sharing the live link, which means whenever you share, it is the shared at this point of time. So whatever you have developed, and if you make changes to the to your portfolio, add more artifacts and update links and so on, that will not be shared. Only the snapshot at this point of time, at a specific point, will be shared. So the updates will not be shared. So if I want to share it with users, so I can say user, and user have to be the KFUPM users, so they should know the username, so they can share it with. Now this is a student. I want this student to share it with me. So as a Sanaullah, I want it to be shared with me, and let's say to WebDad, these two accounts which both belong to me. So I'm just going to do that. I can send an email on the student behalf, or I don't need to send. I mean, right now the student is sending it. That's one option. And send a copy to myself, use blind carbon copy and so on. No need. There are two options. Either I can send an email, or no need to send an email. I can still go ahead and see what portfolios are shared with me. So I'm not going to send an email myself. I'm just going to say shared. Send an email does help, but let me say submit. So it says share portfolio today at 2:43, user WebDad, user Sanaullah. So what I'm going to do is, let me just slide this window. Oh, just a second. So what has been shared, you can view this snapshot over here. This is the same document that has been shared. So if I want to, let me come back to my administrator account, where I am. Okay, I am the system admin. I click on portfolio. You can see my portfolio, my artifacts, and then there is shared with me. So if someone shared with me, it will appear over here. Let me see. It should. There are no portfolios. I'm logged in as WebDad. Let me log in as Sanaullah. Just give me a second. And there is a conflict in the username for this one. Sorry, let me just come back to this. I think it's this one. Sorry for that. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm logged in as Sanaullah, and I click on portfolio, and I say shared with me. Okay, I can see Umar Shahrani has shared the snapshot. The other issue is WebDad is I have different username and ID. That's why it's conflicting. So maybe it's not working that way. But that's an administrator account. But the student has shared with me. I can click open. So I see the student's portfolio, the student's assignment, and all the details with the grade, with the feedback, and so on. As simple as that. So once the student shares, even without telling me, I can just go find it out. And if the student says send an email, I'll get an email also from the system. But I'm afraid because his account is disabled in portal, his email might not work. That's why I have not used it. But if it's an active student, his email will work. So this is how it's shared with me. Now, this is one way to share if somebody is within the university. Now, let me come back to the student account. Let me come back to the student account. I can share this with external users. So if I share this with external users, all I have to do is provide their email address. So I will say, for example, my Gmail address, for example, it's going to somebody external, and it will send an email. And you can write something more, like this has invited you to share the portfolio. there you can send a copy, and then there are a couple of security options over here. You can have a portfolio password. So you don't want them, everybody to, in case somebody forward that link to other people, you don't want that to be shared or seen. So you can use a password and set up the password and give the password by other means separately, either through other channel, by phone or something. Or you can include the password in the email so that it becomes a part of the email, either in the link, most likely in the link. So this is one way to control with the password. Of course, I'm not going to do that right now. And finally, there is an expiration. Determine the amount of time for which this will be shared. Now, the reason for this is normally your portfolio is a snapshot. It's not a live web page, as somebody else, Dr. Osama earlier asked, it's a personal web page. It is not live. In case if you make changes, you have to send it again. So that's why expiration, I think, is important over here. And you determine the time, how long will this be valid. Typically, no expiration, or you can keep it for how many minutes, hours, days, months, or years, depending on how the content will be. Typically, is the recommended practice is give them for a month maximum, or a week maximum, for example, to them, and they should make a decision, or at least look at it within a week time. So you can do all these portfolio password or expiration over here when you share with others. Now, when I click submit, it says external, the email has been sent on this date time to this email address, and this is the URL that they get. Now, if I click on this URL, it's basically opening the same portfolio web page. This does not require any username or password or Blackboard access. I can show you that if I just copy this link, for example, and open in a different window. Let me open in a new incognito window in Google Chrome, which I have not logged in. And if I just paste this link, it should open without asking anything. It just takes a couple of seconds, and you have the document, and everything is here. You can look at the presentation. You can, it says accessing the Blackboard web page without any authentication, because you have shared it explicitly. So this is the second way. The third way is you can share it within the courses. So if I want to send it to any specific course, and if I know the course, now this is still the student, and the student would like to search for courses, search for course ID that begins with 221, for example. The student can share it with me. So I have my course, I think 221 DAD. I think this is the course that I created for this webinar. If I share it in this course and I click submit, so the student need to either search for it or know the name of the course ID, not the course name, the course ID. And I click submit, and it says this has been submitted in this course. So let me, as an instructor, go back to this course. Let me go to this course. This is the course that I have created a while ago. And if I click on this one, this is ePortfolio course. So if I should be able to see, just give me a second. ePortfolio banner. Oh, I have to create an assignment first. That's why. Okay, just give me a second. I'll come back to this in a minute. Just give me a second. So this is how you share it in the course. You have, this is the same document. It is shared on this date and time. Or the last, you can share it with someone as institutional roles, or share it with all system accounts. So if you share it with all system accounts, it will be under Discover Portfolios. So let me not submit it, but let me show you what I mean. So if I come back to my portfolio as a student, if I click shared on me, nothing is shared on me. But if you click on the upper right side, you will see view shared with me or Discover Portfolios. Now, when I click on Discover Portfolios, it is snapshot shared by any student throughout the institution. So if you log in right now to your Blackboard, click on Portfolios, shared with me, and click on Discover Portfolios, you will see that these two students, they shared a snapshot sometime in 2020. So some students have used this tool. Of course, very few, maybe as I anticipate. So if I want to look at this portfolio, I can just click on it. I can see that he is a software engineering student. He says introduction, my name is Hamad, and he has uploaded a photo and he mentioned something about him. He entered his CV, and let me just close this. He entered his CV, he mentions his skill. So basically he has already created his portfolio and shared. And he talks about the web development fundamentals. These are activities that I took for this. And so it's more like his CV or sort of portfolio of work that he has done on Blackboard. So these are essentially a zip file. Maybe he used an artifact that was locally on his machine instead of using an assignment. He added some additional links and some publications that he has, maybe course reports and so on. So this essentially is available for everyone to see, and he has done it. And you can take some inspiration to show it to other students, like you can do something similar or sort of improvise over this. Another student has created this Nawaf Asharqi, but I think he was just trying out with one of the exercises. So you can see it's very much, just adding one page, a header and a document and so on. So this is place where you can see these portfolios that have been developed and shared by them. So if you shared by my artifacts, shared with, sorry, my portfolios view and shared by the users to all system accounts. So if you have done this, or if you want students to showcase their activities, this can be done. And of course, you can do multiple portfolios, and some can be for the whole institution, some can be for your course, some can be for some other specific users and so on. Okay, now let's come to the instructor part. Let me just sideline this student part. Let me come to the instructor part, where I want to sort of see how the assignment is created using a portfolio. Any questions at this point? Okay. So
yes, Dr. Mr. Sanaullah.
Yes,
how,
go ahead.
From a portfolio, how to go to the sharing?
Okay, let me come back to that. So
yes.
If I go to portfolio,
yes,
you will see multiple portfolios created. Click
yes.
on and share.
From more, okay. From more.
And
Oh,
share.
good, good. Thank you.
Okay. Since you asked, let me just show one part which I think I missed it. Let me, before I go to the instructor, let me come to the same student assignment. I think which I missed one part was, I have this portfolio. I can say more and download this portfolio as for me to safekeep it. So if I see what I have developed a document, some text, image, 2 artifacts. So I can say more and download. Now, when I download, it says, congratulations, your portfolio has been packaged and ready for download. Click on portfolio download. And once you download, you will be able to see a portfolio zip file. Let me bring this file to the desktop. So this is the portfolio download file. Let me extract here. So if you look at this portfolio, it will be a zip file in which it will generate an HTML file. It will have these contents in this specific order. So if you open this HTML file, it does exactly the same thing, but this is locally hosted. So if I look at this presentation, it will show me the page, open the file in exactly the same way. It gives very similar feeling. So basically, this is your web page that you might want to design and sort of upload in one place. As an instructor, I'm just suggesting. So this can be used as a web development tool for having some basic web page for your specific activity. And if you look at the PDF file, it's essentially, the documents in place. It has taken care of all the internal linking and generating course menu using the style files, the submission details, and so on. So you don't have to worry about the coding part or organization. Of course, there are other tools, but this sort of gives you as one sort of zip file that you can download and safekeep for you for later on to view it as a web page. So you can either view it directly here, or you can go to Blackboard and view it over there. So that is about the portfolio, where you can either share it or download it. Of course, if you want to delete and make changes, this is fine. So now let's look from the instructor perspective. So if I go to the course, Let me go back to the instructor account. Just give me a second. Sorry to keep switching that way. Okay, I'm an instructor, and in this portfolio demo, I'm going to create a new assignment. Now, typically when instructors create an assignment, they click on assessment and the assignment. And they ask the students to submit an assignment. But typically the assignments that our students have to submit is a Word document or a PDF or a presentation. So I'll say, please, submit portfolio assignment and give some description. Attachment, you can use the default settings, for example, 10 points. Submission details, instead of individual submission or group submission, you will say portfolio submission. So select, and you can ask them to use a portfolio template that have been already designed. But in my case, I said no, just ask them to submit a portfolio submission. That's all, and the default settings are the same. And the assignment looks exactly like the same. Now, if I do the same thing and click the student preview just to see how the student submits the assignment, the students first have to create a portfolio using the Blackboard portfolio system. And when they sort of look at the portfolio assignment, they will see something like this. So instead of attach, a PDF file, they have to select a portfolio or create a portfolio. So since I have created my own portfolio, like my first portfolio, which is this one, if you remember, it was one with the my engineering courses. I think this is the one, or assignment portfolio. This is one I think I created this one, my first portfolio. And then I click submit. And that's all. I click submit. And this is how the portfolio looks like. You see the navigations appear here automatically. Everything that you can see in a portfolio is submitted as it is, and it's hosted in the system. Now the instructor sees the portfolio, all the details, and so on. And if I exit the student preview as an instructor, if I go to the Grade Center, if I look at the submission, I will see the portfolio, excuse me, exactly in the same way. So that's essentially about the instructor. All they have to do is whenever they create an assignment, just make sure that instead of the student submitting an assignment, as an individual submission or a group submission, please select portfolio submission, and that's it from your side. So so that's essentially about the portfolio from an instructor perspective. So you create a portfolio assignment, and we have seen the demo. So what next? What are your next steps? I mean, in my opinion, just spend some time trying to make your own portfolio. Give your students a portfolio assignment. That way you will, also ask the students to encourage them to develop a portfolio. Maybe start with one assignment, then you can say maybe make one portfolio for each semester or each group of courses, and so on. And relatively, once you make 2 or 3, they become comfortable. Ask students to share and download their portfolio, so they will know that there are different types of portfolio that you can sort of make it more rich, interactive. And I think one of the things that I have seen missing in at least KFUPM portfolio is videos. Students should, they record videos on their phone or devices. It sort of becomes a part of this. So I think videos are very important part of artifacts that can be shared in the portfolio. And finally, improvise. There's always room for improvement within Blackboard has its own limitations in terms of design and automatic layout generation, but other than that, you can always improvise, add more components, add HTML code, and so on. So that's all from my side. It's 3 o'clock. I'll take a couple of questions. Okay, I can see one question. So if an instructor creates a portfolio assignment, the item is added to their portfolio automatically. Yes. So the instructor creates, as a sample they can create, but the only thing missing from an instructor that is available in a student is the homework submission, assignment submission that is there as a part of artifact of a student. Other than that, the instructor and the student is exactly have the same privileges. It becomes a part of their portfolio and they can do whatever they want with it. So yes, the answer is yes. So thank you, everyone. I know it's 3 o'clock, but if you have any questions, either raise your hand or ask a question in the voice or type in the chat. So thank you again for attending. And I hope you make it was a good awareness session for the portfolio for you to sort of try out in the near future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanaullah.
Yes, Dr. Nasser. Thank you, most welcome.
You're always helpful.
Most welcome, lecturer. Any questions, Dr. Nasir? Or okay, thank you. I had seen one question. Can the instructor create a template for the assignment? No, unfortunately, the template creation is limited only to admin. So if you have any specific requirements, please send an email to me and we'll try to do it as soon as possible. Again, it takes not more than a couple of minutes to create a template, because you essentially have to have the course menu structure and some header footer and some instructions. So it should be straightforward, but it can be done only by the administrator. Yes, any other question that you think? Again, as you go along, as you try to sort of start working on a portfolio, you might have some questions. There is online help available, of course, and you can always feel free to contact me if you get any questions. Yes, Dr. Baji, please go ahead.
So if I got you correctly regarding creating that template,
yes,
you as an administrator will create the template, but it will be available to all KFUPM faculty, or
yes,
is it like creating a structure for all faculty to use with a specific requirements, for example, by the institution or something like that?
Yes, something like that. It's more like KFUPM, for example, math department. They say, you know, our program learning objectives, please create one template for math PLOs. So anybody who is trying to submit a document, please follow this template. But it will be available to everyone. Once you go and create a portfolio using a template. So let me quickly show you what I mean. So if I go to an instructor, I'm an instructor in this account. If I go to portfolios, and if I say create portfolio, I can say select portfolio template. It will show all the templates that are available.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Of course, it will show all the templates. Some institutions have maybe hundreds of templates, so you have to search for a template maybe. Right now we have just, I was trying one template, and this is one based on what I understood from the program learning objectives. So.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dr. Okay, I think we are out of time, and if there is no more questions, I would like to thank you all for attending and appreciate your time and patience, and we'll see you in next sessions later on, and I'll sign off right now. So thanks again for attending, and have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.